Guys, I've gained some new abilities. So see, now I can mute. I've got some food. You can hear me now. This isn't going to be an ASMR. I'm gonna try and keep my mic and my food. Oh, that was bad. I'm gonna try and keep like my mic and my food away from each other so I can like. I hope that doesn't sound bad. Hope that doesn't sound bad. Can you all hear me well when I talk like this? But like, it's not like ear badness when I do this. Keep sounding likes, everyone. Let's keep going. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm having a really basic meal, rice, vegetables, lamb, because the lamb was on sale, so I had it. You know what was bad? Is I was like, okay, it was really difficult to, it was like, okay, it was really difficult to, find, it's annoying. Are we back? There we are. You're so immoral for eating animals. Sucks. Sucks to suck. No, my genuine answer is veganism is probably correct, but like, also vegans tend to be really, really annoying about it. So maybe don't be annoying about it, and we'll listen to you. Um, yeah, but you're right. But you ever know people that are like right but really annoying, and so I don't care if you're right. That's what that is. Anyway, keep on sending likes, everyone. That'd be cool. And then maybe we can get a Zio up here, and we can have a little debate, a little discussion. A little debate and discussion. Otherwise, it's gonna be really boring, and I'll be really bored. I know funding spelled wrong. Thank you, though. How's Oxford? It's really lovely. It's really delightful, everyone. Stressful. It's a weird environment. If you ever engage with, like, I don't know, like elite unis, they're weird environments. But we move, we live. Okay. Do we have a disagreeer? Degree. Don't if you don't. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, hi, how are you?
Huh, do we... Oh, that would be an issue. I'm not plugged in. Give me 2 seconds. There we are. Crazy. Now speak.
Hello,
Hi.
how are
What do you send
you?
a guest request? Doing well. What do you send a guest request to disagree on?
Well, I've been watching you on Joe's live.
Yeah.
I am, a supporter of Israel.
Sure.
I'm not sure I could, I probably could go all day with you based on, all the things that have been. You bring up a lot of valid points. Israel is perfect, far from it. Um, I don't really know where to begin. How much time do you have?
I got about an hour. So,
All
because then I'm
right.
going to see an Ilhan Pepe give a talk, which will be really good. Anyway, um, yeah. So what's the main disagreement? Like, what? I don't know. What really got you?
I think the light in which Israel is being painted um, at this point, based on their reaction to October 7th, what they're doing, Um, I feel it's out of necessity.
You think they need to not let the Red Cross in?
As far as I'm concerned, there's a few details that we could, discuss that are. I know you might not like me to, brush it under the rug. There's a few things that they're doing that I can agree with, or there's a few things that they're doing that I could obviously disagree with. But I mean, at the same time, what is it that the main goal here is for Israel?
To dispossess the Palestinians of their land, as has been their goal for quite a while.
Well, I mean, why haven't they done it in 75 years?
They've done it pretty damn well.
Through
They've
defense,
taken most of the Palestinians' land, they've dispossessed most of the Palestinians,
through,
and they've
through
oppressed in an apartheid state most Palestinians. Look at what actual territory Palestinians
this
hold.
is what I sort of disagree with in the manner in which the debates are held. Um, where in the last 75 years have they taken land that wasn't in a defensive war?
Taking land in a defensive war is still taking land.
Okay.
So I
Well,
never claimed they dispossessed in
okay.
an offense.
Well,
Actually, it was
okay.
an offense. It was
Okay.
considered a defensive war. Also,
Okay.
67 was not a defensive war. They fired the first shot.
Okay.
Also, every country considers their wars to be defensive.
Okay. Well, they were
Right.
defensive wars, right? You said that you never claimed that it was defense. You never claimed that it was
Well,
offense. So they've taken
that's
land.
different than me saying that it's
Okay.
offensive. So
So in terms of
the
how the
point was
debate,
that the point you made was not
in terms of
connected
how
to
the
the thing I
debates,
said.
in terms of how the debates are being done, when someone speaks, you're very eloquent. I'll give you that. That being said, it was defensive war. Period. End of story. That's case closed.
67 was not defensive.
67 was, but let's agree to disagree. They've taken
So you
land.
can't just make a statement that's not correct, and then when I correct you, you say, "Well,
Uh,
never mind." Actually,
no, I'm not going to say never mind. They've taken
but
land.
you did. You said, "Let's agree to
Okay.
disagree." That's
They've
who cares.
99% of the wars have been defensive. What's
67 was the largest land acquisition war in Israeli history. That is where they got the largest amount of their land following the 1948 Declaration of Independence.
67 was a defensive war.
Okay, then have that debate with me, right? But it means that even your corrected claim, 99%, utter nonsense, right? The only thing they've gained following 67, right, would be parts of the Golan Heights,
which
right?
they
And then
which they gave back for peace.
they didn't give back the Golan Heights.
Yes, they did.
They still no, they still they still have political and military control of the Golan Heights. What are you talking about?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, even your corrected claim is wrong. So you're claiming that the 67 war was defensive. Who attacked them?
Again, this is what happens in the debate. You're going to focus in on things where not everyone sits there and studies every aspect of Middle Eastern history in order to be able to go on a larger scale that the Palestinians have lost the majority of their land through defensive wars.
Well, you would just
Did
be
you?
incorrect, first of all. But you're both wrong on the larger grand scheme and the smaller grand scheme. So you're both wrong on the large details and the small details, and I think it's fair, right, to say, okay, yeah, we don't have to get lost in the small details,
Again,
but the large overarching narrative is important.
this is a large part of the facts that I disagree with you on is that if we're going to try and go into the minutia, I believe that
But you
67
neither want to go into the minutia or the
I believe
narrative,
that 67 was a defensive war.
and
I
you
d-
are wrong.
okay. So majority, so we can still say that the majority of the land, the majority of the wars that have been fought, all of them except 67 was defensive war. Now,
But that's drastically different than the claim that you originally made. The claim that and the relevance of this talking point.
I
First of
didn't.
all, I don't really agree, but second of all, I don't love pivoting. The point that you made was about land acquisition. You said the majority of that land was taken, well, actually, you said all of that land was taken in defensive wars. And then I said, no, that's not true. Clearly,
Okay, well, there,
1967 wasn't. And
listen.
now so
Here's
sorry,
the
let me
thing.
just
Here's
finish
the
the
thing.
point because this is important.
No, no.
Now
Here's the
you're
thing.
moderating the. Sorry, no, I
Here's the
do want
thing.
to finish this claim.
From 48 to 67, they were living next to a bunch of people that have, whatever. So, I mean, what I'm here to basically tell you is that you asked me a question, and I'm not going to get hammered to death again on the minutia.
I'm not hammering you to death.
I
I'm
see how you
engaging with the
operate.
words that you
I
say.
see how you operate. But this is the thing. I have a disdain for the light in which you paint Israel because from 1948 to 1967, Israelis were, always having to defend themselves from the land that they were able to get. They were able to get it because they were, doing a lot of stuff during the 30s that were, whatever. Some people might call it
Terrorism.
terrorism. Yes, the Irgun, the Haganah, that's fine. I have no problem with that. Everyone was a savage back then. The Arabs, the British, the Israelis. I mean, it is what it is. So the high level is that Israel is living next to a group of people where in 1948, when Israel finally got a country, the entire Arab world was not happy with it. They created the concept of a Palestinian in order to further their agenda against Israel. And without Israel, the Palestinians would cease to exist because Egypt and Jordan, Lebanon, I mean, they'd all slaughter them and just take all of the most valuable piece of real estate in
Okay,
the region.
let's try and sorry. Let's try and stop you there. Let's try one
Look
second.
at
No. No, you're not just. I
how.
actually. So this is. You're going to accuse me of modus operandi poor, right? But you said a lot of things, okay? And I know the narrative, right? And I want to engage with you on the narrative.
Okay, let's engage
Yeah,
on the
but one
narrative.
second.
Let's
Don't
engage on
interrupt
the
me,
narrative.
please, because I did let you speak for quite a
Okay, let's
while,
engage on
and
the
I don't
narrative.
typically let people monologue like
Okay,
that. Do you
let's engage.
understand how this would generally
Sure,
work?
sure. Let's
Wonderful.
engage
Thank
on the
you. So let's
narrative. Can
stop
I just tell you the
interrupting. Like,
narrative
it's
I'd like to
genuinely not
engage
difficult.
upon?
It
Can I
really
tell you the
isn't. It
narrative I'd
really
like to
isn't.
engage upon?
Well, no, because you said a lot of things.
Okay, so
You're
then
not
let me
allowed
have you
to. Sorry,
focus
no.
on
I
one
need to
thing.
be able to speak.
You don't need to answer me on anything
No,
I just said. I just
guest.
want
I
you to
need you
answer
to
me
be
on
able to
one
speak. I
thing.
need to be able to speak. I will just start muting.
That doesn't seem very fair.
It's not fair for you to consistently interrupt me either.
Okay, but I'm asking you if there's one
No, but you
point that
don't.
we can
Do you
focus in
understand
on.
the basic level of how this debate needs to
This
be
isn't
run?
Judge Judy, though. I'm
No,
asking
but
if
it
we can
is
focus on
meaning
one
that
thing.
I can have standards for
Can
who
we?
and how I
Of
talk to
course. No,
people,
listen,
right?
I
And
respect
I
it.
expect you to
Is there
follow
one
those
part we can
standards, and
engage upon?
I expect it to be set upon me as
Okay,
well.
is there
Do you
one
think, sorry,
particular
if you
thing?
continue interrupting me, this isn't going to go well for you, right? Because either I will mute or kick you if you cannot let me finish at least setting the boundaries.
Okay, let's have
Do
you
you,
set the
one second,
boundaries.
just stop interrupting me.
Mm-hmm.
Do you understand, right, how this is not going to work? How this mode of discussion will not work?
Well, this mode of discussion can work the way you want it to work, no problem. I'd just like to give you one topic that I'd like to
I
discuss.
know you really want to talk. That doesn't mean you get to.
I don't want to talk. I would like
You
to tell you
really
what
want
I
you
would like
really
you
want
to
to say
talk about.
another sentence. That doesn't mean you get to.
No, I would like you to tell you what
I
I'd
would know.
like
I
to
know
hear
what you would
you
like.
talk
That
about.
doesn't mean you get it. Does that make sense?
Well, do you want to talk about something other than what you've been talking about?
Well, what I would like to say is the base fundamental part of this debate is that generally, if you say something, that thing is open for discussion. That's the base assumption by and large. If you make an argument or assert a fact in relation to an argument, that is open to discussion. And if you don't want to discuss or cannot back up that fact, okay, then don't assert the fact. You don't get to come on here, say things that are flagrantly untrue, and then just move past them. Do you think that that's a fair standard to run a live on?
I think if we're having a conversation, I mean, this isn't, we're not on C-SPAN. I mean, this isn't a moderated debate. We're having a conversation. I think that it would be fair to say, okay, well, I've heard you talk about a lot of things. I'd like to talk about the Palestinians in Jordan, the Palestinians in Lebanon, living as refugees for 75 years. I'd like to talk about, millions of Palestinians living in apartheid
Well,
in
let's have one
other.
discussion,
Okay.
right?
All right.
So,
Compared to the way
if you,
Palestinians.
I'm going to ignore your previous assertions, pretend
Oh,
that didn't happen.
mhm.
Going on, if you make an assertion, I'm going to assume it's up for discussion.
Okay.
What would you like to assert and discuss?
Uh, Palestinians living in apartheid in other countries outside of areas, the West Bank and Gaza.
I don't doubt that they are. What's the
Oh,
relevance?
okay. Well, you seem to, I don't think you have you're not Palestinian, you're not Jewish, so you're humanitarian. You have
I'm
a
a lot
large.
of things.
Okay, you have. Okay, I mean, you're a lot of things, but you're not Palestinian, you're not Jewish.
I mean, I have Jewish heritage, but that's kind of besides the point.
Okay. So I would ask, you have a large platform. Is it that you're using this platform for a humanitarian cause, which is fine, or you're using it because this is a popular topic right now? I mean, what is your motivation?
I've answered this question a few times. If you've watched me, I've answered it a
I'm
few times,
sorry, I
but
might have missed it.
that's fine. So there are a few reasons I'm focusing on this issue specifically currently. First of all, it is a popular concept. It is a popular discussion. And that's not a critique. Actually, you should generally go along with social movements because the only way we get anything done is in our numbers, okay? So yeah, if there's a large group of people that want to do something good, it doesn't make sense for them to all work on different issues. It makes sense for them to unite against a given issue and then be able to take that force and go issue, boom, issue, boom, right? So we're seeing a huge upheaval of my generation talking about this issue. So I'm going to join in and contribute to that shockwave because only shockwaves affect the corporatist state that we have in the United States. So that's the first one. So people pretend like going along with the trend is somehow a bad thing. No, it's actually the necessary thing for
I
social
never said it was a
organization.
bad thing.
No, I know. I'm talking in larger sentences. Secondarily, I am a humanitarian, and this is the largest humanitarian crisis that we have seen within the past 2 months. Let's just be very clear. The most people are not living anymore due to this situation.
In the
Okay,
last 2 months.
in the last 2 months. So that's what I'm talking about. Is I'm talking about it within the last 2 months.
Okay.
So when I'm talking about issues, and I talk just to be very clear, I talked about different issues prior to this. So it's a huge humanitarian issue. Third of all, yeah, so that's the humanitarian part. Humanitarianly and strategically, this is the largest leverage thing we can do. Thirdly, I do have Jewish heritage, and I have a deep respect for the Jewish faith, and because I grew up in and around Jewish communities, and I find it disgusting how Zionists contort and bastardize Judaism. I think it's fundamentally heretical to Judaism and the long-lasting Jewish tradition that exists of, by and large, peace and respect. So I think that's on both a secular level, I think it's nonsense, but on a like personal and cultural level, I think it's disgusting and disrespectful of my Jewish friends and family. And finally, I'm an American. And America has extraordinarily levels of diplomatic, political, military, and economic control over Israel due to our support. So when I'm going to talk as an American, I'm going to talk as, what my country has control over. And we have notably less control over Iran or Syria, famously, or Lebanon, famously. But we have a lot of diplomatic cards to play with Israel still, because we're playing cards on their behalf all the time. So in terms of what we have control over, if I'm to have any influence at all, it's going to have influence over what my country does. And I think America has probably the largest leverage over Israel. Jordan, you make a good point, and I actually Jordan, Saudi Arabia, etc. I think Saudi Arabia is slipping out of the American hegemony a little bit, but Jordan's still tight within our grasp. So I actually agree. Critiques of Jordan's, monarchism are well founded. But then we just go back on the other points. Is it's not currently, unaliving thousands of people. So is there any actual critique about me issuing this, talking about this issue? Beyond that, I'd love to know.
Oh, you see, again, this is a lot of the part of the debate. You're very good at making it seem like you're not getting a fair amount of talking time. However, in the lives that I've seen you in, through your, I won't say manipulative, but you're eloquent. I'll give you that. You do actually manage to get about 80% of the talk time while constantly making it seem as if it's not a fair amount of talk time. For instance, I spoke for about 30 seconds and you just spoke for about 4 minutes.
I didn't speak for 4 minutes, but
It
that's
was,
fine.
yes, it was.
I have the live recordings.
Okay.
I can time it.
Okay. I'll tell you what. Let's look at the time, and if it was under 3 minutes, I'll make a $5,000 donation to APAC.
Why would I? Okay.
Look, let's start with the first thing you said about Zionism. So, Zionism, 98% of Jews, the right for Israel to have a country. What do you believe Israel has a right to have a country?
That's not the mere.
Do you believe the Jewish people have a right to have a country?
I don't think that's the relevant question.
Well, I mean, you mentioned Zionism, so I'm not going to. I'm not as smart as you, Will. I'm a simpleton.
That's fine.
I'm like the Forrest Gump of the Israel-Palestine conflict, if you will. So you mentioned Zionism. It's just the first point you mentioned. Zionism, the right for Jewish people to have a homeland. Do you believe Jewish people have the right to a homeland?
Not in the sense that Zionism does.
No.
That's why. That's why it's an important distinction.
Do you believe Jewish people have the right to exist in Israel?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so
that's
you're
not.
a
That's not.
okay,
The,
so you're a
no.
Zionist.
Well, that's what I knew you were going to do, and that's why I tried to correct you before you misrepresented my beliefs.
Well, you seem like a good guy, so I believe you're.
But the thing is you don't get to claim ignorance and then not allow yourself to be corrected on the ignorance.
Well, that is the definition of Zionism.
It's not.
90% of Jews are Zionism.
It's not. That's not the definition of Zionism.
It's like calling a black person the N-word.
It's just not the definition of Zionism.
Yes, it is.
I mean, okay, I'm happy to pull up the definition of Zionism.
Okay. The second thing.
So the definition of Zionism, right, that we have from Merriam-Webster is a movement for originally the reestablishment and now the development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now called Israel.
Okay.
It was established as a political organization in 1997 under Theodor Herzl and was later led by Chaim Weissman. That is different. Let's just be very clear.
Did you say 1997?
1897.
Okay.
Sorry, I might have said 1997.
Yeah, no problem. I was going to say.
You can read it off Oxford Languages. Yep.
All right.
So that is different than saying Jewish people have the right to live in that area. Saying they have the development and protection.
Read it again.
It's a subtle move. It's a subtle difference. A movement for originally the reestablishment and now the development and protection of a Jewish nation in what is now Israel. It was established as a political organization in 1897 under Theodor Herzl and later led by Chaim Weissman. So there's an important distinction between Jewish people being allowed to live in that area and Jewish people having a nation in that area. Do we see the distinction between those?
Okay, so
one is calling, as it was in 1897, for a ethno-state of Jews.
If you're not a Zionist, then you're not a Zionist.
Well, under that definition, I am not a Zionist. I do not believe in a Jewish nation.
All right, perfect. So now you're a humanitarian.
I'm a huge series of ideologies. Secular humanism is one of them, maybe.
Okay. And you believe that the largest atrocity is the death of 5 or 6, and I don't minimize this. It's just hard to say it without minimizing it. The largest atrocity in the world right now is the death of 6,000 or 7,000 innocent civilians in a combat zone following a large terrorist attack.
It's unequivocal that the death of 30,000 people and the dispossession of 2 million people is the largest threat to humanitarianism in the world within the past 2
Okay, I mean, you can grandstand and say that, but
wait, that's not what grandstanding means.
Okay, you can go ahead and spin it however you want, but you believe...
But you also spinned it in a way that is not consistent with international reporting.
Okay. You believe that the largest atrocity in the world today is the death of 6,000 or 7,000 innocent civilians.
Well, that's your belief.
Okay.
I'm citing the actual statistics that I have up to date.
Okay.
So if you want to ask me if I agree with your beliefs first.
Okay, so let's say Mia Shem held her severed arm in her own hand for 3 days in a dark room. The man who was looking after her only did not grape her because his wife was in the other room, and the wife didn't like that. So she basically, didn't give Mia food. And the child of that family would go up to Mia and show her a bag of candy and then take it away from her. So do you believe that person's an innocent civilian?
Are you asking me about specific Palestinians?
Well, I mean, have you ever been to
Did I
Gaza?
say innocent people?
Do you
Wait,
speak to
did I make a claim about the amount of deaths of innocent people?
do you speak to a lot of people that have been in Gaza?
Wait, but you're trying. I want to be able to have a discussion with you. That is not possible if
I
we
said,
cannot
I said,
continue a discussion. You don't get to just ask questions. Let's
Mm.
have a discussion.
Okay. I
You
asked you a
asked me about
question.
what I believe to be the largest
Do you believe
humanitarian
that the
threat.
death of five?
You asked me about what I believe to be the largest humanitarian
I
threat.
said, do you believe that the largest atrocity in the world today is the death of maybe 5 or 6 thousand innocent civilians in a defensive situation following a grotesque, horrible T attack?
My question to you is I don't know what you're referencing because I don't know any given atrocity with those numbers.
Okay. So you feel that there's a number being thrown around 30,000 and you're just in for it because there's no combatants. There's no
I
people
never
that are
claimed that.
essentially the same as combatants. There's no natural deaths.
Never claimed that.
Okay. So then
I'm
what are
not
we
claiming
what are
any of
we
those people.
what are we
I'm not
talking
claiming
about?
any of
What are
that.
we talking about? Are we
I
talking
don't, well,
about
I don't know what
Okay,
you
well,
asked the question. It's your job to clarify it.
are innocent civilians people that were spitting on Shani Luke while she was being paraded through Gaza?
I don't really, I'm yet to know which atrocity you're
Are
talking
innocent
about.
civilians 9 year
Wait,
old
so
kids?
this is grandstanding. Instead of engaging with the actual issue, you keep pointing to something that actually doesn't respond to what I'm saying.
No,
So
I'm
you
asking
keep
you.
morally grandstanding. I
I'm not
never
morally
made a claim
grandstanding.
about innocent civilians
You made a claim that this is the largest atrocity in the world today. So is the
within the
death
past
of
two. You're making a lot of assumptions. Okay. I never. So this is why it's important. We first know what we're referencing, and then we get to the facts, and then we get to the analysis. Do you see
Mhm.
how though that structure works? You're skipping that, and you're asking me to do the analysis first, and then disagree with you on the facts.
Okay. Is a
Okay,
tie
so we need to
is a
agree on
tie
the facts first,
is a
and if you want
tie
to disagree on the facts, have that discussion. But you're being disingenuous.
Okay, I mean, is a Tyregev having a bullet removed from his leg with no anesthesia, being told that if he makes a sound, he'll be killed? Is that an atrocity?
I'm not talking about specific instances.
Is
Okay.
Mia Shem
Do you,
holding
one
her
second.
severed arm in her
This is
hands with
grandstanding.
the
You continue to talk about individual instances as if that's what
Okay,
I'm talking about. We are
okay,
talking past each other.
okay.
Okay?
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
I believe the mass dispossession of 2 million people is a humanitarian crisis.
Okay. So you do believe that the death of 5 or 6 thousand civilians in a defensive war is the largest atrocity in the world today?
Well, that's not what I'm referencing.
Okay, but that's all that's going on. Being
Well, that's
displaced in a
your
war.
belief. So this is where we have facts, then analysis. Do you understand how you're skipping that step?
No, I understand that
Okay,
people are
so in order to
displaced
be
in
able to
war.
do the analysis on the facts, we need to first know which facts we're talking about. And if we have a disagreement on the facts,
Okay.
it's irrelevant our disagreement on analysis. Do
Okay.
you see how what you're doing doesn't actually facilitate a productive discussion because you're skipping the step where we have a disagreement on facts, even though you know we have a disagreement on facts? So when
I'm
you
trying
pretend
to. I
like we don't
agree.
have a
No,
disagreement
no,
that
I
we do
agree.
and you
I
know,
agree.
that's
I agree.
disingenuous.
I agree. I agree.
Then
So I
don't be
just
that is disingenuous. Please stop doing it.
okay. So do you believe that Gaza is you believe Israel eliminating Hamas with the best of their ability to limit civilian casualties in a densely populated area where militants embed themselves within the civilian population, and they're doing so with the specific goal of not having to undergo another 75 years of Palestinians growing up under these types of regimes where, I mean, the Palestinians have
What?
committed.
Just reference Gaza, babe.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Palestinians have
But
committed
this,
two.
once again,
I
this
think it's
this this
important.
this epilogue isn't making any
Well,
difference.
no,
I'm
I
just
think
going
it's
to I'm
important.
going to give the exact same response. I would
Okay.
disagree with the reference of these given of that situation with
Okay.
those words.
Okay. Well, no, it's just because the Palestinians have committed, and this is not
Make
the big. This is
make
not the
ask a
small one.
question and make an argument.
Okay. Okay. What do you think of the 250 major T attacks the Palestinians have committed in 6 or 7 different countries outside of Israel since 1968?
Disgusting.
Okay. So Israel is fighting against some kind, peaceful, loving people that just all of a sudden
I
they're
disagree
going.
that we should characterize our people by our military.
Uh, okay. So let's just say that the Palestinians didn't commit 250 major T attacks. They didn't unalive the Munich athletes. They didn't drive bombs into the New
Once
York
again,
World
I'm
Trade
not
Center.
pretending like they didn't do that. I'm just saying
They
that
didn't
I shouldn't
unalive
be.
the Prime
One
Minister
second.
of
No,
Jordan.
no, 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 no.
They didn't slaughter
I
Christians
shouldn't
in
have to do this
Lebanon.
every time I want to get a word in.
Okay.
We should try and have a productive discussion.
Okay. Let's go
You
back to
talking
what you said.
past no, you talking past me is not going to make that happen.
How many people have been killed in Syria, Myanmar, and Yemen?
What is
Well, you said it's the
through
single
what
biggest.
metric?
Well, how many people have been killed in the Arab Muslim world in the last 10 years by their own people?
What are you counting? Are you counting malnutrition? Are you counting starvation? Are you counting only violent death? Are
How
you
many
counting
people? How many
organized
people have been
crime?
killed in Syria?
Through what? Through the ongoing civil war going on in Syria with Western and Eastern funding?
How many people have been
But
killed
this
in
isn't how
Syria?
you need to make
Well,
statements
you
as well
said
as
it's the
questions.
largest. You said Israel. You said Gaza is the largest atrocity in the world. It's rookie numbers compared
In
to
the
the rest
last
of it.
two
I mean,
months.
if it's a G side compared to
One
Bashar
second.
al-Assad, it's rookie numbers, bro. Come on, let's
Okay.
have an honest
Okay.
conversation here.
What was my actual claim?
You said it's the largest atrocity in the world.
What was the full sentence there?
It's the largest atrocity in the last 2 months.
Okay. So that's the actual statement. And you continue to try and make an argument framing it in a way I would disagree with the framing.
Okay, can I
And
frame
I'm
it a
not,
different
and
way?
you know I'm not stupid, and you know that I'm not going to fall for that.
Can I
So
frame it
please
in a
stop.
different
No,
way?
you can't. And I would appreciate if you stop doing that. Once you
Okay.
get the opportunity to do it again, don't do it,
Okay.
right? Because I'm just not going to engage with
Okay.
idiotic framing.
Can
I
we
do.
compare
It's unequivocal.
Mhm.
Unless you could cite me specifically within the past 2 months, what has killed, injured, and dispossessed more people by comparison.
Okay.
I would love to know.
I do not want to engage on that, but can we compare being a humanitarian to being like a nurse or a doctor, let's say, for a second, and let me run with something and
I
see
know
how
you're
they
trying to make
apply
a
it?
point. I want you to be accountable to the points you're attempting to make. You were attempting to engage in a whataboutism,
Okay,
right?
is
Saying,
it
"But what
is
about
it,
this issue? What about this issue? What about this issue?"
I don't think
So
there was,
even the argument on a whole structurally doesn't work. It doesn't
well,
matter that worse things are
it's a
happening.
sad thing that there's war. Is Israel committing an atrocity? No, they're
Well, yeah.
fighting a
So then we
war.
debate on the facts, but
Okay.
the whether or not they're committing atrocity is irrelevant to whether or not Syria is committing atrocity,
Well, I
right?
would
Or
just
Iran's committing
I
atrocity.
would
So if you're
actually
not going to, so if
okay.
you want to challenge my direct claim,
Okay, I will
which was that
challenge
it
your
is the
direct
worst
claim. I will
humanitarian
challenge your direct
situation,
claim. I will
okay,
challenge
then
your
make an
direct
actual
claim.
argument.
In the rest of the Middle East, in the last 2 months, there's been more deaths than there has been in Gaza, for reasons of, like that a humanitarian might want to pay more attention to. So I would just ask you,
Like what?
well, like, let's look at it this way. If you were a
Name a
nurse,
specific
if you were a
population with
nurse,
more
if
deaths
you
per
were a
capita
nurse,
and more
if you were a
dispossession per
nurse, if
capita.
you were a nurse and you walked into a dark alley and you saw 2 people there, one of them that was lying there on the ground with a paper cut saying, "Oh my gosh, my paper cut, my paper cut." And then there was a person
I understand what you're
with their
saying. It's just
intestines
not. It
falling
doesn't
out.
track
There
onto
was a person
reality.
with their intestines falling out. Do you really consider yourself to be a humanitarian by focusing on the person who's, like just being dramatic with their paper cut, or the people with
The
their
thing is
intestines
once
hanging
again,
out?
you've made this point
Okay.
now 6
All right.
times.
My only point to make
No,
is
I know,
that
but can I respond to it?
my only point to
Can I
make is that
respond to it?
you're completely, in my opinion, disingenuous because I don't
Yeah,
believe
you
you're
feel that way, but you've
humanitarian.
actually shown yourself
I
to be
don't believe you're
disingenuous. So
humanitarian. I believe
okay,
that the only
you
reason
put
you
that
have
label on me.
okay, I believe the only reason you have for having these debates is 2 things. One, your ego. 2,
Doesn't have an
financial
ego.
gain. And
Doesn't help my
three,
financial gain
and
enough,
three,
babe. I could make
three.
so much more money.
No, you
Jesus
couldn't.
Christ.
No, you couldn't. I'm sorry, Will, but
Yeah,
you
I
couldn't.
could.
No, I'm sorry, but you couldn't. And I'll tell
Do
you
you know how
why.
much money I make off these lives?
Uh,
Less than minimum wage.
no, that is incorrect. That is
Do you want my
incorrect.
tax records from the past 3 years
That is
off these
incorrect.
lives?
In the last 2 weeks, you've made a lot of money. You go on.
Not that much. Genuinely,
It's more than you could make as a student. I'll tell you that much.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if you're. I can tell you something.
I've done the math. Wait,
I've
so
done the
one
math
second.
too.
One second.
Okay.
I've let you make a lot of now
Sure,
personal
no
attacks
problem.
on me.
Yeah, it's
So
not a
stop
personal
speaking.
attack.
No,
You're-
stop,
no, but
stop,
you're
stop,
telling
stop
me you've
speaking.
made
One second. Let me
minimum
respond to
wage.
this.
That's a
Let me
lie.
respond to
You've
this. Can you
made
let me?
$20,000,
You're not up here to have a discussion if you don't let me respond to it. I should not have to do this every time I want to speak.
Okay.
What's your name that I can call you?
Bagel.
Bagel? How old are you, Bagel? If
Or
you mind me
Menachem.
asking. Menachem?
Yeah.
How old are you?
Around 40.
Around 40. Okay. I assume you've had lots of conversations with people, and I assume that you know what could be personally offensive to people, right? So on that assumption, being around 40, I would assume that you know suggesting that someone is only doing something for the money.
I didn't say that.
One second.
No, you didn't get to my third reason.
Well, I'm going to respond to your claims. If you believe that at least a primary motivation of this is personal self-satisfaction and money, right? That's personally offensive to me.
Is it offensive?
And stop speaking.
If the shoe fits, wear it. If not, throw it away.
The point is
if the
first of
shoe
all,
fits, wear
no,
it.
stop speaking. It's not difficult.
I mean, you do display.
Stop speaking. It's not difficult. Stop speaking. It's not difficult. Or I'm just going to mute you because you've made a personal attack on me. You will just simply be muted.
Of narcissism.
Okay, stop speaking.
Okay.
I've done the math over the past 3 years, right?
No,
By
don't
comparison,
go
stop
after years.
speaking.
How much
No.
have you made
Okay, you're going to be dropped if you continue acting this way. I've done the math over the past 3 years. I've made notably less than minimum wage doing this work.
The last 3 years.
Okay, well, stop speaking. You're going to continue. You're going to be muted next time you interrupt me. Do you understand?
Israel's been good for business. How much?
Do you understand the rules of? You will be kicked if you interrupt me again. Over the last 3 years, I've made less than minimum wage. Over the past 2 months, I have made slightly more money, but I've still made less than actual Oxford minimum wage. If I worked in it as a barista, doing the exact same work, I would be making less money, okay? And you don't know anything, first of all, about my financial position. Second of all, about my other opportunities as a law student at Oxford. And third, about any of my motivations. That's absurd. Second of all, I mean, I get death threats and personal attacks consistently from idiots like you every single day. It's not nearly... Stop speaking. No, don't. It's not nearly worth it if I didn't genuinely care at least a little bit about this.
At least a little bit.
And first,
I'm sure you...
and finally, thank you, moderator. And finally, I think I've shown pretty damn consistently that when they cannot actually beat my arguments, as he's effectively admitting to doing, that they personally attack me. They either say I should focus on another issue,
I'm not,
or that I am a profiteer, right, an ego booster off this issue. It is a tacit concession, and I appreciate the tacit concession, but I would admit if you were a strong enough man to actually make it. And on that note, I will say this. Moderator, we're going to get better at muting him. Thank you so much, Marmar. What I will say is we do have 2,200 people on here. My goal here genuinely is to get more eyes and ears on the issue. If you have any genuine arguments that can prove that I'm not doing that successfully, or not actually engaging with the discussions, as he's clearly not, then send a guest request. Otherwise, if you appreciate what I'm doing, follow me up here, follow my YouTube, and if you want to financially support me, because once again, I am a college student, I have plenty of ways for you to do that in the link in my bio. Love you all, because fundamentally, also, the GIFs on here boost the live. Can we just know what that's the function of them by and large? I don't make that much money off direct GIFs. They boost the live to get something like 2.2K. So I don't think you understand the functions of TikTok. I don't make nearly enough, and TikTok takes something like 50% of it. And I don't think you have any moral standing to actually make this accusation. So if you actually have an argument as to that, right? Or if you can actually, I asked you a direct question that would prove your argument. Your argument was that
This is comparatively not that bad. Point me to a similarly sized, anything comparable. Point me to any 2 million other people that have seen such atrocities given against them within the past 2 months. Point me to a case where 30,000 people died, innocent or not. Point me to a case where 95% of the population was dispossessed. Point me to a place where 90% of a given population's residential area was destroyed. If you can do that, I'd love to see it within the past 2 months. If you can't, right, maybe don't suggest I'm a war profiteer. You're allowed to speak now.
Okay, so one, I will stand by, and it's there's nothing wrong with being egotistical, and wanting to have yourself speak, or having a group of moderators to push the mute button on someone to have a conversation. If we were sitting next to each other in a bar or something like that, you wouldn't have that ability.
Nor would I be speaking to you.
Within the last 2 weeks, you've made over $10,000 on your lives, so you wouldn't make that as a barista. You wouldn't make that as a barista. And so Israel's been good, and Israel's been good for business. Israel's been good for business for you. And the third is that.
Oh, I wish I made $10,000. What?
Is that it's very clear that you will basically not agree that the Palestinians are treated better by Israel than the Palestinians are treated better by Israel than the entire Arab Muslim world. The Arab Muslim world created them in order to be sheep that would be slaughtered for decades and decades and decades to further their agenda against Israel. And
That is
if
so
Israel
funny.
and if the Al-Quds Brigade magically, with the will of whoever, planted their flag in Tel Aviv and Israel was no more, the Palestinians wouldn't exist, because every country in the Middle East, you think that the Arab world would just send them gifts and say, "Oh, congratulations"? That is the most sought after piece of real estate there. They would stop.
Okay.
They would just slaughter them.
Are you not able to? Okay, first of all, $10,000 is crazy, bro. $10,000 is crazy. My last draw out.
The Palestinians should be thanking Israel.
Okay.
Israel is doing them a favor.
Okay, you've made your points.
I mean, Israel does them a
Have
favor.
you made your points?
If you talk about atrocities, I'm just saying, look, it's fine to hate Jews and to want to get some money and to want to hear yourself speak.
So
It's
now
fine.
you're accusing me of being anti-Semitic.
No, I didn't say that word. I mean, whatever it is. I mean, you take
Hatred of Jews is anti-Semitism.
I
I hope you understand. Okay,
No,
but
that's not true.
seriously,
That's not true.
if you're going to make an accusation like that,
Semitic
have
too.
the balls or ovaries to
Arabs
back
are
it up.
Semitic too. Arabs are Semitic too. So I don't.
Anti-Semitism, if you look up the
I don't know.
definition of the
That
term,
could
refers to
mean
hatred of
Arabs
Jews
too.
within
I
the
don't
English
know.
language.
I don't know. I don't.
But
use that
you
word.
are,
Have
that
I
is
used that word?
disgusting,
Did I use
right?
that
I
word?
have
I
no
didn't
hate
use
for
that
my
word. I
ancestors.
didn't use
You
that
are
word.
absurd. Why in the world would I have hate for my ancestors? That is absurd.
Okay.
The anti-Semites, I
Listen,
would be, I think, second on the anti-Semites
I didn't
list.
say
If I lived
you're
in
the only one
Germany in the
that's used that
1830s,
word.
I'd be dead too.
You're the
That
only
is
one that's used that word.
absurd.
You're the only
But
one
no,
that's used that word.
you're just, okay.
Capo, self-hating Jew, whatever you want to use. I mean, I didn't use the word anti-Semite.
Well,
That
you've now
being s-
used other of deeply
I
offensive
said no,
terms
I said
used
you
by
could
anti-Semites,
you
so
could use
that's
that word.
fine.
I mean, I'm just saying.
But okay,
Okay.
you're
So
unable
now,
to make
okay.
your actual argument.
Bottom
Can you point
line
me to
is
another
that
atrocity? Can you point me to another atrocity of comparable scale?
The Gaza terror strip is
Can
not the
you
largest
point me to
atrocity.
another atrocity of that scale?
Sure.
Yeah, name one.
Anything outside of Israel in the Middle
Name
East.
one.
Anything.
Name one.
Pick anyone.
Name one.
Pick anyone.
Name it.
I'll let you pick.
No, I'm not going to do your argument for you. Name it.
Millions of Palestinians living as second-class citizens, living like dogs in Lebanon and Jordan.
In Lebanon.
In Lebanon, yes.
Okay, can you point me to 2 million Palestinians dispossessed in Lebanon?
They've been there for 75 years.
Are they dispossessed?
Their children and their children still live in refugee camps. They haven't been given status.
Have they been dispossessed within the past 2 months?
What are you focused on the last 2 months for? They've been there 75
Because I'm discussing the last 2 months.
They live in refugee
Were they
camps
dispossessed in the
like
last 2 months?
dogs for 75 years. Why are you
I don't
honing in
doubt
on
that
2
there are
months?
horrendous treatments. Were they dispossessed
living
and
like
starving for the
dogs
last 2
in
months?
camps
Can
as
you name?
refugees
Wait, so
for
no.
75
Living as
years.
refugees is better than what the Palestinians are currently under right
75
now. The conditions of
75 years.
Palestinians within Lebanon are better than what the Palestinians within Gaza are right now. Do you dispute that fact?
Maybe today, but they're going to be better
And within the
off.
past 2 months, I'm asking you about the past 2 months.
Very soon.
I'm asking you about the past 2
Very-
months. Can you name one within the past 2 months, actually?
Well, they're going to be better soon. You know
But
why?
name me within the
They're
past 2
going to be
months.
better because their education
Name me
is going
one
to be
within the past
changed
2
and they're
months.
going to have
Name it.
prosperity.
Name
They're
it.
going to be
If you're okay, thank you, Marmar. It's not
bring
difficult.
prosperity to
Very
them.
cool. Mute him again. Let's keep this hype train going for a second. Mute him again. Thank you. You can't name me one. Not one that had 30,000 casualties.
I could
Not
name
one
you
that
many.
dispossessed 2 million people. Not one that injured over 100,000
You're
people.
doing
You
casualty
can
math.
mute him again,
You asked-
baby. He cannot control himself, which
didn't
I
say
don't know
casualty.
how he can't as a 40-year-old, right? One should reasonably expect that he could control himself as a 40-year-old. But if you cannot name, it's not a personal attack to say that you should act your
personal
age.
attacks.
What?
Goodwill.
No, well, first of all, the age thing is not a
You
personal
would tell
attack.
your moderator to
You
stop
not
muting
being
me.
mute him, keep muting him. The fact that he cannot control himself is extraordinarily important to the maturity of a discussion. I'm trying to have a mature discussion, and it's not
You would
physically
tell your
capable to have a
moderator to
mature.
stop muting me.
Keep muting him. It's not physical discussion.
Moderator to stop muting me if you weren't scared to have a conversation.
I'm not. We're not having a conversation when you don't respond to me. We're not having a conversation when I'm not
We
allowed
are
to
having a
respond to him.
conversation. You
No,
said
I'm not. I'm not capable of having a conversation with you if we're not able to engage in a back and forth.
You said atrocity. You said atrocity. Tell your moderator to stop muting me so that your viewers don't.
We'll just sit in silence for a little bit.
Moderators to stop muting me so that
Mute him again. Thank you.
So that your viewer.
Mute him again. One more time, baby.
Okay. So you need.
There we go.
Conversation.
One more time. Let's do it just one more time.
This is the only way you're
one more time, baby.
Conversation.
Thank you, Queens.
So this is the only way you're capable of having a conversation.
Well, no. So with you, it's the only way I'm capable of having a conversation.
No. You go and you cry and say it's not fair. Look, you said atrocities. You didn't say casualties.
So I've referenced characteristics of atrocities.
Sir, you said atrocity. You did not say casualties. So
I wasn't. I was is dispossession a casualty?
Excuse me. Don't back up on what you said. You said atrocity.
Dispossession is an atrocity.
You said atrocity. You did not say casualty.
I think we've well established that I said atrocities. Are casualties not atrocities?
If you want to look at atrocities, there are greater atrocities in the world. If you want to look at specific casualties of war, sure, there was more casualties in Gaza than there was in New Jersey by acts of war. These are acts of war. These aren't atrocities. These are casualties due to war.
I think all deaths are atrocities.
Yes, I can agree in the sense, but when you're referencing an atrocity, be specific. You did not say casualty. You said show
deaths
me
are atrocities.
A bigger atrocity. You didn't say show me more casualties. They're car accidents.
That's an atrocity. There we go.
Attacks. These are all supposed atrocities too,
yep,
right?
Those are.
Okay.
So I asked you for a larger one.
Fine. So smoking is a larger atrocity. Heart attacks are a larger atrocity. Cancer is a larger atrocity. By what you're trying to go. Yes, cancer is a larger atrocity. Cancer has killed more people.
Well, I asked you to give me a comparative.
No, you didn't.
Actually, I did. So to be extremely clear. Wait. So what I specifically asked you when I gave. Do you want to hear? Do you want to wait? So do you want a monologue? Because we're just going to go back into the mute train.
If you want to be,
we're going to go back into the mute train, baby. Mute him. There we go.
Cancer.
Mute him again, baby. One more time. He needs it. He needs calm down corner.
Cigarettes, alcohol.
He needs calm down corner, baby. One more time. Okay. Okay. The specific question I asked when I did articulate a direct question to you was, can you give me a comparative atrocity to a comparative population?
Yes.
Okay. Give me one.
Well, I already gave you a few. You told me that atrocities are directly related to casualties.
No, I didn't. I actually referenced explicitly dispossession, as well as casualties, as well as injuries.
Okay, but I'm talking about atrocity. What is a bigger atrocity? What is a bigger atrocity is not Israel liberating the people of Gaza from Hamas so that the future generations of children can grow up with a prosperous future.
You believe it's a justified atrocity. That's fine. We can have that discussion.
I know you have Jewish heritage. What Israel is doing right now is a mitzvah.
one, you can believe that it is justified. We can have that
Beyond
discussion. We
justified, it's a
need.
mitzvah.
Do you believe
It's
that
a
we need?
mitzvah.
Okay. Actually, no deaths can be a mitzvah. Under
What they're
Talmud,
doing for the
under
greater
Talmudic
good, they're
law,
doing this for the
no
greater
killings
good
can
of
be
the
a mitzvah.
Palestinians.
Under Talmudic law,
lost
this is why I
200
believe that.
soldiers.
This is why I believe
They've
some
lost
forms of
200
Zionism are
soldiers.
fundamentally. This is why I believe
They
some
didn't
forms
have
of
to lose
Zionism.
any soldiers.
Okay, so now you're being heretical to Judaism. And no killings, even of those deserved, under Talmudic law can be a mitzvah. Okay? 0. Criminal killings are not mitzvahs, right? Stonings are not mitzvahs. It cannot be a mitzvah if it involves unaliving people. It just can't.
Listen, there's a lot of people that believe that, Israel, maybe was too soft at the beginning.
Okay. Once again, you've claimed it's a mitzvah. That is heretical and so it definitely offensive to anyone, any actual understanding of the Talmud, right? It's funny how confident you are for a person who comes on here claiming ignorance. You've well beyond claiming ignorance. You've shown it as well. But the point that you were trying to make was a really semantic one, which is that I asked about atrocities and not killings, as if
Meerschaum is an atrocity.
As if
our hostages are an
as
atrocity.
if somehow, yeah, absolutely they are. As if as if killing people is not an atrocity. So what I'm asking you is, can you give me the generalized term of atrocity would be, okay, if they get dispossessed, if 2 million people get dispossessed, and then of those 2 million, 30,000 die, and of those 2 million, 100,000 are injured, right? That overall is the net humanitarian loss. Can you point me to, of a comparable population, right? So you can point to, people being injured by, cancer and smoking, right? But that's not of a, oh, he got a violation. Well deserved. Okay. Should I leave? I might. I do have to run. But I do have to leave. Because I have to go somewhere. But I love you all. You're all very cool. If you want more of this type of content, I have it on a mitzvah. A mitzvah generally is just a sacred sanctioned act under Talmudic and rabbinic law. Would be the quickest way I could describe that. A mitzvah is a Jewish term for a sanctioned and holy act. So to suggest a killing, by and large, especially killings of children, is so incredibly disgusting. To be a mitzvah is so incredibly disgusting. Anyway, love you all. If you can follow me up here, that'd be very cool. If you want more of this content, go on my YouTube. The link is in my bio. I've done daily uploads now for the next week. So do go follow me there. And yeah, it'll be cool. We'll be doing well, everyone. So I might go live tonight, although I'm going out tonight, so I don't think I will. I don't really think you want to see me debate after going out. Yeah, all right. Love you all. Bye-bye. Also, yeah, if you do want to support me, because I don't get paid nearly enough for this, Cash App, gifts, Patreon. Very cool. Read the tutorial, you Jew. Homie, I have. Okay, anyway. Love you all. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.